So I have a bunch of items that I just have to try out because some of these are sitting here for like over a week now. Some of these I just received like yesterday. When you see it, it will be the day before yesterday because I really try to fast upload this. So I already applied the eye primer. So now let's go in with the face primer. I'm using the Tom Ford Tracer Soft Matte today. And I try not to ramble as much because I'm actually a bit short on time today. Since it's 5 a.m. and I need to leave for work at 7. And usually when I film my makeup, it takes me like, I don't know, 2.5 hours to do my shit. But I try to be fast today. I don't like the purple vibe in the background. Oh my god, it's 5:30 a.m. Okay, I have to really rush. But we can do this. But let me change the lighting quick. I said I won't ramble and now I'm rambling again. Okay, red? No, too warm. Orange? Maybe orange mixed with blue? So, purple? I like this vibe. And it does kind of match the palette we're using today. If you remember, for a while I used the Dr. Jar Cigar Repair, this like color changing treatment, but I don't know, recently I feel like I don't need this. A little bit of concealer is enough because my redness that I have throughout the face kind of faded in a nice way. Hopefully I won't destroy this masterpiece, which is basically just 2 strands of hair twisted together to make it, oh my god, kind of appeal. So, that was very, very elegant. To kind of appeal like I did a like Dutch braid, but I can't braid. I'm just too dumb for hairstyles. Oh, and by the way, I recently learned that I am supposed to wear these bands like this, and the like big part that is now here, not in the front. Yeah, I don't know if you know what I mean, but I think I destroyed the hairstyle now, but we will see when we're done. I don't care now. I don't have time to care. One of the items that we are going to try is the new DIOR cushion powder. I have no idea what the fuck a cushion powder is because when I open this, I have this. Then you have the puff, then you have a lid, and then it's basically a powder with a sifter. So where the fuck is the cushion? I don't know. But as usual, I do set my eye primer with my under eye setting powder. And here we can already see that there is like literally no lavender color, which is completely fine to me. It doesn't have to be like purple like the background. So from time to time when I do have a lot of palettes that I cannot choose which one to use, I ask you on Instagram and you can like vote on a poll, and you clearly, like with I think 70% or so, choose the new DANESSA MYRICKS Lightwork 5. If you want to see swatches, I have already done them as a short, so if I remember, I'm very bad at that, I will link them somewhere here, or you can go back to the channel when you have done this video and watch this. But please take an admiring look inside this beautiful motherfucker. Oh, when I swatched it, I tell you, this video completely escalated because I ended up with like 8 of these 18, yes, 18 eyeshadows I had smeared on my face because I did face swatches, and then I washed it off very roughly, and then my husband was like, what the fuck have you done in there? You are like fucking Edward. And he was right, because like here and my arms and here, and I think even somewhere in the back, I had fucking glitter everywhere. And since this palette of course has no mattes, because light work is usually very intense, with shimmers, not with like mattes, I will also pull in the Blend Bunny Forget Me Not palette, because this is now one of the rare occasions where a palette like this can be super handy. Yes, I could also use one of my Viseart palettes, but I think like my Grande Pro 1X I have used so many times, but I have used this one only once so far. So let's do this. And what are we going to do with the shimmers today? Because usually for first impression, I want to use like the highest amount of eyeshadows I can find in a palette, but could be a bit harder since they are very, very different. The cool thing is that you can either use them the way you fucking want, like nobody cares, or this is also coordinated in like columns, so you can stay in this line, then you have like crosses over where you say like, okay, I can take this route, or I take this one or this one, and so on and so on. I don't know, I'm feeling kind of green today because the Abundant shade is definitely one of my favorites. When I swatched Strong, I nearly pissed myself because this is so freaking good. All of them are good. I really enjoy this. And since this palette, even though there are some warm tones in there, is mostly neutral leaning cool, I think we can have some very cool cohesive mattes for this eye look. You know what, we're going in full shebang today, so I'm starting with the shade In the Plan from the Forget Me Not, which is a, I can't even tell you, but it's a cool black. It's not gray, it's a cool toned black. It's not like dark black, deep black, black. It has a bit of a coolish undertone, and I apply this very, very sloppy here on the outer part. Remember that I said in one of my You Don't Need That Shit videos that the Forget Me Not palette is definitely a palette I do not need, but when it came available on Monolith Shop, by the way, if you don't know Monolith Shop, they basically carry a lot of indie brands for us Europeans. They're a bit more pricey because they handle all the taxes and shit, but they have a lot of stuff that usually is either very hard to get, very expensive to get, or takes like 8 weeks to get. And I thought when this became available, like, you know what? Actually, I want to try this, because how does a person like me, who's clearly into like more intense colorful makeup, how can a person like me use this palette? And it's 100% a companion palette. Was it necessary? Absolutely fucking not. But I like the quality, to be honest. I really enjoy the mattes. This row, I said it in my very short review on Instagram and TikTok that I'm not sure how I feel about these highlighters, or like the highlighter shades, shimmer shades, whatever. But the mattes, fucking awesome. So I'm now going into the Together shade with a fluffy blending brush. And I start the blend in the center and on top of the black. And whatever is left, I also take to the inner part. I mean, just look at that easy blend. It is a really good quality. Let's just say that. But I also said it in my review about this palette, do not expect your typical Blend Bunny quality, because this is a eye and face palette. And to have this working as a face palette, you need to change the formulation a bit. So these are not your soft powdery shadows. They have a bit more of a texture to it. They are maybe a little bit more like stiff or so. They're different. But different does not mean bad. And I'm not side-eyeing here the whole controversy about Blend Bunny's sickly sweet palette, where she just changed the layout, and so many people came at her, were like hating, and I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I'm now taking the shade Remember, which is, by the way, one of my favorites in this palette, because this reminds me so much of the French Grey shade in the Lisa Eldridge one. But it's not as creamy of a matte formulation. It's a bit more powdery, but I really like this. Maybe I should do a like dupes video or something like that. How you can dupe the Vega palette, because you know, this is one of my all-time favorites. Even though this is probably the most boring palette of all time, but I just cannot stop using it since this is so versatile. And actually my first thought was, what can I use with the DANESSA MYRICKS? Let's pull out Vega. And then I was like, no. You can't use Vega again, because it's, first of all, it's not available, which is such a shame. Lisa Eldridge, please bring this back. I would even buy a backup. Like, I love that palette so much, I would buy a backup of a palette, which I never do. But I also thought, again, I haven't used this only once so far, so let's just pull this out. But now for the fun part. I think the blend for the lid is completely okay at this point. I just want to stress it out again. I always use a glitter glue. Sometimes I do get comments on Instagram or like questions via DM like, yeah, but did you have fallout, and why don't you use glitter, or why don't you stop using glitter glue? We want to see it without glitter glue. No, fuck you. I'm sorry. I'm happy to answer any questions. I am very happy to fulfill requests. For example, I got the question if it's possible that I can do one eye with the Makeup by Mario I Need a Nude palette and then try to copy the same look with the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, I love that idea. I will do that. Well, not today, but I will definitely do it this week. But when somebody is messaging me like, yeah, but I don't use glitter glue, so you have to adjust your makeup style to mine. No, I don't have to. It is completely fine for me that you do not use glitter glue. And I totally understand when somebody is like, yeah, but that's a step of too much for me. For me, not. I do use glitter glue. Always. And it does not matter if it's DANESSA MYRICKS, Tom Ford, Blend Bunny Cosmetics, Nomad Cosmetics, Be Perfect. I can now count every single of my 120 palettes here, or 130 at this point, I think. I don't know, I'm not sure. I will always use a fucking glitter glue. I think we're staying in the green line. I don't know why, but I feel very attracted to green. And I want to start with the Enough shade. By the way, in this palette, you have different finishes or formulations, and Enough is a suede shimmer, whatever that means. But I take this suede shimmer and I tap this now very gentle on top of the darkest part of the lid and a little bit on the like bare lid. I'm now going into Abundant, and this one is, wait a second, let me read that off that shitty piece of plastic. These are whipped powder shifters, whatever that means, because the formulation in Abundant and Centered and Invincible and Brave and Fierce and Fearless are very similar, and they remind me a lot of the pressed chrome flakes that we got in the Lightwork V, which were part of the reasons why I decluttered my Lightwork V, because they were so hard pressed you had to basically destroy the surface. That was also what DANESSA MYRICKS was saying in tutorials and how to use the palette, that you have to destroy the surface with like pressure and then you get the flakes. And that was too much of a hassle for me, but I kind of regret decluttering this. But I take this Abundant shade and I apply this on the center. You know, whenever I start singing while I apply a makeup thing, you can be sure that this is probably, I don't know, making me a bit wet. And I love the fact that even though these are both greens, you can kind of see the difference. You know, the suede shimmer is like some of those velvety metals, while this Abundant shade is a very intense, chromy, shiny beautifulness out of heaven scent, whatever. I'm now tapping into Fearless. So yes, I do palette hopping. I like hopping inside the palette. I will, for fuck's sake, not use this as intended because these are way too beautiful. Just looking at the shade at the brush, and I think I'm gonna maybe a bit shitting myself now. But let's apply this, oh yeah, on the inner part. And I tap this like on top of this green border to get it blend together. I like this color combo a lot. Oh, and in case you didn't know, this is called the Affirmation palette, and here underneath that mirror it says I am, and then you're basically, every shade is meant to be pronounced I am radiant, I am protected, I am unbreakable, for example. And I kind of like this idea. I'm not a big believer in affirmations, but there is a psychological theory regarding affirmations, and that's called the self-fulfilling prophecy. That basically means that when you strongly believe in what you think about a certain thing, then this will definitely happen. The best example is when you always think like, yeah, I will fail that test, I will fail that, I don't make it. You probably won't make it because you just don't believe enough in yourself, and you're basically blocking your brain from, for example, when we're talking about the test, from just getting the informations out of that area in your brain where they're clearly saved. So I applied some of the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. As you might know, I use this for a underpainting glow effect on my under eyes because I always use product like that also on my face. And today we're using the iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. And don't worry, this white under eye area, it all will come together in the end. Believe me, it's just, this step is such a game changer for me that I just cannot stop using this fucking Rare Beauty thing. I think I'm on the third one now, which is funny because when it came out in the beginning of this year, I think it was January, I gave it such a bad review, but now I can't stop using this, and I will probably use this forever. Kind of weird, but I'm feeling skin tinty today, so I'm using the Summer Fridays sheer skin tint. That, in my opinion, is a lot, but not sheer. I don't know, I don't think it's sheer. And it actually makes me want to try more of Summer Fridays, but I don't know where to start. I think on Code Beauty, where I can buy Summer Fridays, also there's just a limited amount of products available, like from their whole line. But if you have any recommendations, what I have to try from Summer Fridays, let me know. I think they do have blush sticks, like fairly new to their collection. Am I mistaken? Sometimes I just cannot keep up. You know, there are so many freaking releases, I just can't. And look at this motherfucking skin tint. Like, how fucking pretty is this? But as always, we go on top of everything with our trusty sponge. For concealer, by the way, I'm using the MAC Studio Fix Everywhere Face Pen. I still freaking love this concealer, but I hate the distribution system. And I don't know what the magic in this concealer is, because as you can see, this shade I'm wearing, NC12, is clearly too light. But the magic is going to happen once we start blending. It's like color adjusting. I mean, yeah, it's brightening too, of course, because it is so light. But when I now go over it with a sponge, it adjusts. And then I'm just left with a beautiful, brightened under eye area. I don't have a lot of new contour products beside maybe the Makeup by Mario ones, and I'm using the Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick in the shade Light. One stripe left, one stripe right, like that. And I actually do blend it out with a brush that it comes with. I don't know. I have this foggy thought in my head that some people, or like everybody, was like, this is a bullshit product, except when you use it with the attached brush, then it's a good product. So I never tried using it with anything else than this brush that is on the other side of the product. But we actually have some cream blush and cream highlighter, and I also have a new powder contour. I got sucked into K-makeup. First of all, I am kind of affiliated with Yes Style, so there is a code in my box if you want to use that. I'm very, very happy if you do so. If not, it's fine. I'm not even sure what it does, but I think the code, I don't even remember the code. I really have to look it up because I'm fairly newly affiliated with them. I think that code saves you just some money, 5 or 10% in my opinion. Not 100% sure. I'll write it down in the box. But I saw on the Olivia, what's her name? Like Olivia Saros Rex is her Instagram name. I don't know how her full name is. But she tried these FMGT Moisture Cushion blushes, and I ordered the blush shade in pink. And I thought it is a blush in neutral, but it's actually the highlighter, which makes me kind of happy that this is a highlighter. And it comes in this cute packaging. You have this puff for it that we are also going to use now to apply this. And then you can just, like the Dior powder, open it, and then you have a true cushion in there. So let's just try this. It's really, really cooling on the skin. Oh, I like this. I also like this puff actually. Takes a bit of build-up, but it might depend also a lot on how do you wear your blush, you know. What is your skin tone maybe? And as I said, I do have the matching highlight, and that is basically working the same way. You have this little cushion thing, and now let's try it. I only swatched the highlights so far because when I removed the like plastic paper on top, I just wanted to know what I have to expect, and I was like, on the hand it looks awesome. So I try to press this on my high points. Yes, I like this. Can you see that? I hope you can, because this is a beautiful highlight with a very nice, cool pink undertone. And this is personally my favorite highlight. Shiny with pink undertones are my vibe. The only thing that I actually want to criticize is that this is not a very precise application, so I will probably not keep on using it with this puff, at least the highlight. But if you have tips on how to do it, let me please know. So now let's try this setting powder. And since this is a loose powder that comes with a cushion, but I don't like these round ones, I take my own one. This is an LH Cosmetics one. The name bothers me. This is not a fucking cushion powder. It's like a loose powder with a sifter. Like, what the fuck are you trying to sell us? But I will press that now in the under eye area. I haven't used a Dior powder in such a long time, and the last one that I used was the Dior Backstage No Powder powder, and I freaking hated it. It literally feels like smooth, dry skin. Like, not dry like cracking dry, I mean dry in the term of no cream on top, but kind of moisturized and bouncy. I love that. Let's now finish the eyes, and I'm going back into my Forget Me Not palette, and I'm using this In the Plan shade, like this dark cool black, and I apply this on the outer part, connecting just like that. I'm now tapping into Together again, and I use this to blend it out on the lower lash line and blend out that dark shade a bit. Like that. That's it. Because we will do, of course, some DANESSA MYRICKS stuff on the lower lash line too. By the way, I fucking hate the fact that the finishes are printed on this fucking plastic while the shade names are here. Couldn't you have printed the like shade names and the finishes on the back? What the fuck? So I'm pretty sure that for my inner corner highlight I will use the protected shade, because this is a, I have to read that off again. This is a Heavenly Halo or Halos. Oh, it's like, okay, it's Heavenly Halo. I said in my swatches it's Heavenly Halos. Okay, it's a Heavenly Halo formulation, and this is like your sheer ethereal fairy tones kind of. But I also want to have some more contrast on the inner part of the lower lash line, so I'm tapping. Yes, I will use Brave for that because it has a similar vibe as Protected. Brave is shifting very light blue, Protected is shifting a pinkish violet, and I think they can mix nice together as a contrast with the green. And the Brave shade is very flaky, but I actually don't mind that anymore. And I use this directly here in that part. Oh, it shifts green. In the pan it shifts blue. How fucking surprising. Okay. Oh, I like that. It's like, you know, across the eye, a contrast. I like not contrast, but kind of cohesive. But this is the Brave shade. This is not, okay, in the camera it's shifting bluish green. But when I look, okay. These surprises can be good, depending on how like flexible you are. But I have something of the Brave shade smeared here on the palette, and that shifts green too, so I could have known that. But I didn't. And now let's go into Protected for the inner corner highlight. This is very smooth. It feels quite sheer. Like even when I swatched it, it was very, as if there was nothing on the finger. That's the way these feel. And I apply them on the inner corner, dragging that into the crease and mix it here together. Yes, this is the contrast that I wanted. Like the blue, the violet. Oh, love it. Do I have shades like Protected already 1,002 times? Probably yes, but nobody is hurt by 1,003rd time, to be honest. And do you know why this combo works? Like the inner corner dragged into the crease on top of this like fiery orange, because they're complementary colors. Remember my beginner series, color wheel, they're like opposites in the color wheel, and they just work very well together. I don't have any super new powder, so I'm again using my Milk Blur and Set. That is like, I'm very far down. Thank God I have a backup. It's a really good powder. The new version, the Pore Eclipse powder, is also really good. But the Blur and Set, I don't want to say it's better, but it's better. I don't know if you remember that, but a couple months ago, I think, there was this video going around TikTok of somebody who was like, yeah, this is how real 40-year-old moms do their makeup. And then she was like holding up the most simple things like, here, look at my eyelash curler. It's the same one like 25 years. I don't need a new one. Okay, good for you. This is my MAC eyelash curler. The one that I had before from MAC, I had over 11 years, but it kind of, I don't know, it felt loosely, wiggly, whatever, so I bought a new one. Whereas the problem to replace a tool. And then she was like, yeah, and brows. We do our brows only with the pencils. A lot of people do it only with a pencil. Like, Robert Welsh completely destroyed this video in the most hilarious way ever. Do you know what I hate the most about this brow powder? It hard pans so fucking fast. Okay, let's go into the contour part. And I also got from YesStyle the Art Class by Robin. Too Cool for School contour. And if that isn't like a true contour, what is? I haven't even touched it, so I don't know what the like thing is, like the texture. And I just swatched it on the hands. I don't know if you can even tell. All three shades are so freaking cool, but I will mix them. I think that's the best way to use it. And whenever I contour, trusty NARS Ida brush, I know it's so old at this point. I mean, this is not the one that I bought 10 years ago. This is it even 10 years? No, it's a bit less. 8 or 7 years. It's a new one, but I still love this brush to this day. And why is there always hair? You know what? I just swirl on top of it and see how this is going to look. Oh wow. It is less pigmented than I thought. I mean, it's Korean makeup, of course it is. But when I saw this product, before I put it in the cart, I had to actually Google it, like, is this any good? Is this like something I'm sleeping on? And every review was like, this is the OG contour. Like, is this really the OG contour? It looks like an old barber shop, like beard pomade or something. But is this old school contour? Because I like it. It looks super good. And now let's put it in my drawer full of bronzers. Full of bronzers that I maybe just recently decluttered, and now a new one is in the family. Welcome. I also got 2 highlighters from YesStyle, and these are the, I think I pronounced it wrong, Cezanne, I don't know, it's Cezanne. Cezanne, I don't know, it's Japanese. I bought these not for the cool packaging because they look like cheap as fuck. I bought these because I saw a TikTok video on somebody who was like, this is the most wet looking highlighter you will ever experience in your life. She applied her shade, I think it was this one champagne beige. I also got the 4 shell pink. And I was like, I need to buy this. And then I went on YesStyle and it was not available, but I ordered it anyways because they said, like, yeah, we can ship your order in 3 to 4 weeks. And I was happy to wait. I don't know if you can tell. I have to admit, they're not as wet looking as the TikTok made me think. At least not the champagne beige one. The shell pink one, though, does. So, which one are we going to use? Let's use shell pink. The thing with a lot of highlighters is that sometimes they do swatch like bullshit, but then they apply like a fucking dream because the brush is just picking up the pigments different, like with eyeshadows. So this could be now the worst mistake in this video, or maybe not. So let's see. Okay. Can you tell? I clearly can. The formulation is very, very similar to Charlotte Tilbury's Baked Gelée formula in their the face palettes. It's very, very similar. It is beautiful. I have to admit that it is really beautiful. I took it a bit too far down, but who the fuck cares? By the way, I also recently decluttered my highlighters, but you haven't seen the video yet, but here are 2 new ones. First impression wise, I'm happy with this. This looks freaking good. I really like it. Apply mascara very quick and then let's summarize a bit of this video. Okay, I still cannot believe how I took off the headband without destroying this, like completely, a bit, but not much. I also have a new lip liner. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Crazy in Love. I love these lip liners, so it's of course a no-brainer, but I thought a darker color of them could be nice. And I have no idea if that matches the eye, but we will see. Okay, that's a really pretty color. I think we're doing it quite simple since this eye look is very intense, and I'm going in with the Dior lip oil in, I think it's Rosewood. Yes, it's Rosewood. Okay guys, so this is now the finished look. I mean, the star of the show clearly is the new Lightwork V palette. If you struggled, oh, this fucking plastic sheet. If you struggled with the Lightwork 4, especially, I'm talking about the middle row, I think the like 4 shades on the upper and the lower row were like no-brainers. But the middle row was difficult because you have those two pressed chrome flakes that are just really hard to use, and then the two center ones were like aqua shades. You had to activate them with water, and that kind of didn't work for me for whatever reason. This motherfucker is awesome. I mean, I used now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shades. 5 out of 18 shades, so like a bit more than a third. I think we have to talk about this like whole value from two different point of views. One point of view, in my opinion, is just the fact that DANESSA MYRICKS is a highly artistic brand that has a lot of high standards, especially since DANESSA MYRICKS herself is such a well-known professional in that whole makeup world. She's an incredible makeup artist, and she has, of course, a very different standard to a palette like this. I don't think that you can compare this to your indie brand shadows. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It is just the fact of thoughtfulness in this palette, of usability in a palette like this, in creativity, with textures, with finishes, with shifts. The typical everyday makeup wearer that is not like, maybe like you and me, who take 1.5 hours every morning to get ready, they will not have fun with this. This palette, but also could be when you don't have a lot of like shifty shadows or a lot of like texture shadows, a nice addition to your collection as a companion to amp up a look. For example, I do have one friend who is much more in the neutral region, and she bought that palette too. And what I see with her, I mean, she hasn't used it yet, but what I totally see in her looks, like how she is able to tone these down to make these work for those everyday wearers. Not that I won't use a palette like this every day. It definitely would. I mean, look at this eye look. I'm heading to the office now. What DANESSA MYRICKS shades, in my opinion, make them very, very special are not only the variety of shades and of shifts in these palettes, it is the texture a lot. For example, you can clearly see that Centered has a lot of flakes going on, same as Invincible or Brave or Fierce. These are meant to be used in very different ways. I used them in a very easy way. I took the brush, I swiped it on. You can like break these flakes and make it one opaque layer. But what you could also do is you can take your finger, press a couple times into the shades, and then do like this exact same motion on the eyes. And then you end up with a like eyeshadow cracking look. I did this actually with the pressed chrome flakes in the Lightwork 4, and I love that look. I really want to do it again, so maybe we can do it with this one, but I'm drifting away with my thoughts. What I personally love more about this palette than Lightwork 4 is definitely the variety of shades, because you have your warm oranges, you have blues, greens, reds, you have shifty, you have also ethereal looking shades. That makes me super duper happy. I like the fact that she did not put in the pressed chrome flakes because they're, as I said, a bit more of work. The thing is, I have the feeling like I try to find something to talk you out of this. I try to find something to tell you that this is not worth buying if you have a big collection. I have over 120 palettes over here, or 110. I decluttered, but I totally lost track of it because I haven't updated my Excel spreadsheet. Different topic. And I still think, even though I have this big collection, that this is a great, great, great addition. But I also think if you are a collector of, for example, very special multi-chromes, special duochromes, I'm talking specifically Cleonet. If you collect these and you have a lot of them, this could be a bit redundant to your collection. Only if you're really interested in like the textures that are in here, you might get a lot of news to your collection. But if you're interested in this chrome texture, you could also buy the single infinite chrome flakes in the pots, the little jars. I have 3 of them and they're incredible. If you are a big collector of indie brand eyeshadows, and I mean, we all know that indie brands, they shot their fucking multi-chromes left, right, up, down, front, behind, everywhere. I still think this is still a good addition because it's just a very different quality approach on a multi-chrome palette. I don't have a lot full multi-chrome palettes, mainly Adept Cosmetics, and when I compare these two together, the DANESSA MYRICKS formula is much more elevated to Adept Cosmetics. If I look specifically toward shades like Center, these like flaky, and you know I have a big problem with these in the Minka palette because they're also like the dried metal formulation, as I like to call them. This is a more elevated formulation. This is on purpose flaky too, but it's different flaky on purpose. It's thinner, it's more spreadable, it's better usable. It is for professional context made. It is user-friendly in my opinion, even though this palette can look a bit intimidating. And if you are new to like multi-chromes and you're like, okay, I wanna put one toe in the water, I wanna dodge the bullet, I wanna do it now, and you don't know where to start, DANESSA MYRICKS Lightwork V is your chance to start and to experience the love of multi-chromes. Did this explanation make any sense? I have no clue. The other items, I mean, I like them. I really do like them. My favorite out of the whole Yes Style stuff is probably the contour because it looks really good. And I just want to say I ordered also a sunscreen from Yes Style, the Kane, I think it's a green packaging. This is a photo of it. This one I got for free because of this like affiliated thing. I can choose one or two items, I think one item per month to get sponsored by Yes Style, like SPR for free. And again, if you want to use the code, it is down in the box if you want to order from Yes Style. Keep in mind, they kind of take a lot, they take a long time for shipping, because even after they sent out my stuff, it took like 2.5 to 3 weeks to receive it. Just keep that in mind. If you want to have something quick, Yes Style might not be the right address for you. Don't come at me like you're promoting that. I warned you. I told you so. But it worked everything really well. So I'm quite surprised on that. And you have a huge selection of skincare and I think even clothes. Not too sure. I only looked for makeup and skincare there. So it would be nice if you use the code. You of course don't have to. You don't even have to order, like, don't order stuff you don't want. Again, DANESSA MYRICKS Lightwork V. From a first impression standpoint, this gets a fucking yes, this is worth it for me, even though this is a bit pricey. The lip liner, no brainer. The contour, as I said, was my favorite. Was there anything else new? Oh, even though, okay, chaos. Even though this is not new to the collection, let's just talk a bit again about the Forget Me Not palette. I have to admit, as I said, somebody who's clearly more into colorful makeup, this will not be an everyday use palette, but I enjoy it as companion palette. I think this is absolutely workable. The blend of these shades was so easy and so fast. And these pans will last you for fucking ever, because each of these pans has actually, does it say here, 50 gram? Yeah, 50 gram in total. Okay, 50 gram divided by 16 is 3.1 grams. That's not a lot. Don't get me wrong, it is a lot for eyeshadow, but for example, Vive, the 90s palette, also has 3 grams per pan. Okay, but in general, I think this is a well thought out neutral palette. For me, this will never ever be a face palette, even though Remember and Together, these are really nice contour shades for me. They can work very well, but I don't like eye and face palettes. To me, it's like one or the other. So how about you? How do you feel about this new palette? Like, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, oh my god, I have 5 other palettes sitting here staring at me, judging me, being like, use me, use me, use me. There's also a video coming up with the Odin's Eye formulation, but it takes me a bit longer than I thought, because I only have done one look with the Trick or Treat palette. Head over, of course, to Instagram to see this look, because it was really pretty. I'm full of glitter again. What the fuck? Why do I have glitter on my finger? But I haven't used the little ghost yet. And when I do the video, I will show you the tutorial on like both palettes. And I also want to do a full rundown of Odin's Eye shadows and compare everything and show you what shades they recycled so that you can make a better choice. Maybe even in the future, you know, the Halloween collection is still there. I don't think it will sell out that fast, to be honest. The holiday is upcoming, so I expect Odin's Eye to bring out a fucking banger for Christmas, because last year's were a fucking banger, but it's really hard to top that. Okay, I'm rambling. Just so that you know what's going on, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out the info box down below, because there's Instagram, TikTok, and where you can buy me a coffee, or again, you can buy me pizza. You don't have to, because the biggest support is subscribing. Oh, subscribing. Oh yes, I totally forgot. We hit 500. How is it possible? How is it possible that after 3.5 months or like 4 months, I don't know, I think the first like real video I uploaded somewhere in June. How is it possible to have already 500? Because I read everywhere that it takes like 2 years to get to 1,000. And here we are after like nearly 4 months and we're 500. So 500 weirdos in a wonderful little family. I am so happy to have you here. I love your comments, and I love the way some people actually comment like every sentence that I say, and they write like 10 comments. And I love that. I try to answer all of them, and I think so far I either answered all of them or I at least reacted to all of them, because I want to let you know that I read them, I see them. I check the YouTube Studio app like 10 times a day on my phone, and then in the mornings on my computer and in the evenings on the computer. I love the interaction. Thank you for 500 people sitting here. When you see this video, head over to Instagram, because there's still a giveaway going on. I'm giving away all 5 of the Halloween lip products that came in the Odin's Eye collection, and this is still running until Saturday night, like October 14th. And I said like around midnight, but remember it's the European time, so you have to maybe do some clock math. But the giveaway is only European only, because shipping outside Europe is fucking expensive. Like we're talking 50 euro and more for a fucking package to the US. So maybe sometime in the future we can do an like international giveaway, but at this point I actually cannot afford to do this. So it's just the truth. I'm very small, but I wanted to give back. I rambled. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.